Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Other Side of Addiction. I am your host, Al Richards, and our special guest today is Annette Pieper. Annette, thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome. I'm glad I was able to join you today.
Yeah, you and I have talked about this at First Fridays for a little bit, hon. We finally got you scheduled, so thank you so much for being willing to come on the show and tell everyone a little bit about yourself and your story and what you do right now. So Annette is known as, I want to make sure I get it right, the badass business chick. And I love that. Even from the day one we met, and I remember I did a video with you at the West Jordan Chamber when I was working for the Chamber, and you even said that right off the bat at the video. Yeah, I'm Annette Pieper, and I'm the badass business chick. And I'm like, I hope Asia doesn't want us to count or block that out. But yeah, we never did. So that was really cool. Yeah. And we are joined again with by the lovely Mel.
Hello. Thanks
Mel,
for having me.
thank you for being here. Always enjoy having you in the studio with me.
This is one of my favorite days.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is a lot of fun. And now that we're starting to do the live shows, I mean, we had so much fun yesterday, and we had a few hiccups, you know, because it's the first time we've done a live show through Zoom, and we had a few hiccups. And we're just sitting here talking to our guest that's coming on the show, and Brad's like, you guys are recording. We're like, oh, crap. The camera's on his computer. And anyway, it all turned out really, really well. So, oh, my gosh, Annette, I'm going to let our people know a little bit more about you. You do a plethora of things, man. You've got a lot on your plate. So for those of you that don't know who the badass business chick is, she is a business and sales performance expert, an author, a coach, a trainer, a speaker, and a podcast host. She is president of the high impact success training firm, Vision 2 Reality Training. Annette has over 20 years of experience with coaching, consulting, and training expertise, and is the author of the up-and-coming book, Conquer. That's pretty cool. I love that. She is also a Success Mountain. Or wait a minute.
It's Conquer Success
Conquer
Mountain.
Success Mountain. Okay, I didn't finish the whole thing. Like a badass. I like it. Like a badass, and co-author of the best-selling book, Step Into Your Vision, which I really like that because a lot of us need to learn how to step into our vision. That's for sure. And you had overcome an addiction, and you and I chatted a little bit about that, and we'll share a little bit about that today during the show. And something, Annette, that I've always admired with you is how you go out there and you help other people. And you help other people in so many different ways, just not through business, but in so many different ways. And that is something that, like, one of our missions here on this show is to help people understand things a little bit more and let them know that they don't have to be stuck in the box that they're stuck in. And I really do believe we all get that way. I know Mel has been in that spot. I have been in that spot. I've had a lot of things in my personal life going on lately where it's like I felt like I've been closed in, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, how the hell do I get myself out of this situation that I'm in, or how do I look at things? So it's good to have people like yourself who has been through a lot, and all your training and the success that you've had, and go out there and just help other people look at life in a different way. So I tip my hat off to you, girl. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing, because I really, really do appreciate it. We need a lot more people in this world that does that, and I think we're starting to see more of it.
Definitely.
I think more and more
agree.
people are starting to go, you know what? I'm going to be a difference. I'm going to make a difference, and they're out there helping other people. So tell us, I mean, I hit a whole bunch of stuff right here, but tell us just a little bit more about yourself that we didn't touch base on.
We didn't touch base there. Well, you know, I started on the journey of personal power in the late 2000s or the late 1990s. My health was in the gutter. I was sick all the time. You know, things in my relationship weren't going very well. So I started first with my own health and wellness, and then I moved on more to personal development. So studying the chakras, energy work, coaching and training. So really starting to learn how to empower myself, because traditional therapy was not helping me. It wasn't helping change my situation, and the medical community wasn't helping change my health either. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, well, if I'm going to get better, I've got to do it myself. I've got to study. I've got to learn what's going to work for me. And so that set me on a whole journey into healing myself. And while I was going through that journey, I got the call, which is part of what I teach in business as well, is you get that call to step out of what you've known. I've been working at a semiconductor company for over 21 years, and I got that call. I need to go out there and teach people how to heal themselves as well, to give them the tools and the resources to start that process. But I didn't know how to transition from working in a corporate setting where I was making great money, I had tenure, to starting a business, which I never owned a business. So that was a whole new concept to me. So one Sunday morning, I lit a candle and I said a prayer. And the next day was Monday, and I went into work, and they called me into the HR office and told me that my job had been eliminated.
Wow.
And that I could either take a $5 cut in pay and go back into the fabrication area, because I was working in engineering at the time, or I could take a layoff. And so, as scary as it was, that was like a quick answer to a prayer. So you gotta watch what you pray for. You gotta be ready for it, because it can happen in an instant.
And sometimes it's not the way that you're hoping, right? Because that's what happened to me as well.
So I took the layoff. I went back to school and got a degree in psychology and a minor in fitness and, hypnosis, training, Reiki energy work, NLP, personal fitness, got my personal fitness trainer certificate, and started my business. So that happened in a 2-year period that I got all of these trainings. And then I continued on and got my master hypnotherapy, my master NLP practitioner. And then I took a job doing business coaching as a foundation for wealth. I was coaching for a New York Times bestselling author. And so that's what got me started into the business coaching. I worked for a company for 3 years doing business coaching for this author. And then I transitioned out of my lifestyle and fitness coaching business into business coaching in 2009, into my own company. I was already doing the business coaching for 3 years. So then I transitioned into vision to reality training, and then just continued to increase my skills, sales and marketing, training, public speaking, got my distinguished Toastmasters. And, that's what I love to do, is just speak and train and help people either heal their life or heal their business.
I think it was probably shortly, maybe around 2010 or 11 is when you and I actually met through some networking groups. And I was actually starting to go to your Toastmasters, and then COVID hit and put a stop to everything like it did everything else.
I actually started Toastmasters this week.
Yay!
I'm starting my new journey.
And
Good for you.
I think
I'm excited for your path, because that's kind of the path that I'm looking to go down. A little bit of the same pathways, but I'm really excited. It's a new journey, something I've never done before, and I'm nervous but excited for the difference.
Cool. And I really, definitely, you guys should get a one-on-one. Yeah, because I think there's probably some really good stuff that that Annette could probably help you out with in your journey, because I've known Mel for a little while. We met at First Fridays as well, and then when First Friday started back up, we ran into each other again. And it's kind of crazy now. She's coming on the show, but she's really, she's like stripped everything off, and she's like, I'm painting a whole new me. And she's been busting her butt, working hard on making that happen. And that's something that we talked about on our live show, that a lot of people want change, but they're afraid to let go of what they're already hanging on to. And you did it through prayer. Mine happened through prayer as well. Lost a job of 24 years. And so it's almost like those steps just automatically had to happen. But there are other people like Mel who's like, hey, I've had some crap happen in my life, and I'm not going to allow this shit to put me down anymore. And I'm going to figure out a way to just get rid of it and I'm going to rebuild. And I don't think it's ever too late to rebuild.
No.
I think if you can be in your 70s or 80s, I don't care, and you can actually knock down the walls and start a whole new one.
Exactly. And when I talk about going on the hero's journey, which is, I just talked about part of my journey, my business journey, what got me from where I was in business to where I am now. But in the hero's journey, there's like, you get that call, and there's a couple of ways that you get that. You get that through a pulling that I want to do something different. I want to help people. But you can also get it through what I call the cosmic 2x4. So you get whacked upside the head. Your health,
I like that one.
Your health fails. Your relationship fails. You get put in jail. You go to prison. You end up in an emergency situation because you weren't paying attention to what the universe was telling you. When it comes to addiction, you get that call. It's not good for you. And if you don't heed that call, the universe is going to come in and give you a stronger message and a stronger message and a stronger message until all hell breaks loose and you have no choice, or you go the other direction and, maybe you pass on because you didn't heed that call. So there's these choices that we make, and that call's not an easy one to heed because we have to move out of what I call the familiar zone, because generally there's nothing comfortable about it. Even though we call it the comfort zone, it's usually not comfortable.
You're right about that. Yeah.
So we get called to move out of that familiar zone, but it's hard. It's like, that devil, and moving out of it's the devil you don't know. And so people stay in that situation where they know what's going to happen every day, even though it sucks.
And I agree with you 100%. And
absolutely.
Mom, please don't take this to heart, but my mom, she's been beat up pretty much her whole life. And I've kind of slowly been kind of working on her of how to think and how to look at things. And so many times she has told me, I'm 70-something years old. It's too late for me because this is all I'm used to. And it's like, okay, yeah, I get it. I get it's all that you're used to, but you don't have to be used to it anymore. You have an opportunity now that you can actually change it. And so many times she's told me, it's too late for me. No, it's never too late. Ever too late. And with you saying, with listening to the messages, I think that is something, and Mel, I know you'll agree with this. We cloud our mind with everything that's going on in the outside world, right? It's like we're in this bubble and we're okay being in this bubble. And we're missing so many things because our head is constantly thinking of how miserable we are. And we're not seeing the blessings that really are happening around us on an everyday basis. And I don't remember the gentleman's name, and I think you may know him. His name was Robert. He passed away about 3 years ago.
Oh, Robert Pooler.
Robert Pooler. So I worked with him for a little while. And he taught me something that still to this day that I use, and I have gotten a lot better at listening. And I had a gal read my aura in St. George, and it was all white. And I found out that when it's all white, you're in touch with your spiritual side, that you're very, very close to your spiritual side. And I thank Robert for that. Because when he was working for me, I was doing some life coaching with someone's name who I won't mention. I don't want him to get any kind of frickin' crap. Anyways, I was working with Robert, and he was telling me, he goes, before I see you in another week, he says, I want you to really listen to what your head's telling you. And he says, and pay close attention, and then you come back next week and we're going to talk about it. I'm like, okay. And he goes, and these are your spirit guides, or your Holy Spirit, or your angels, however you want to look at it. And I'm like, okay. So a week later, I go back and he says, okay, so how's it going? And I'm like, crap, man, my head is like buzzing. It's on fire. I don't understand. And he goes, well, tell me why. And I'm like, because I'll hear something, and then it's like, well, should you? And I don't know if that's a good idea. Well, maybe I should, and it's that should word, and no, I'm not going to do this. And I'm like, I'm all freaking confused. And he goes, okay, let me stop you. He goes, you're getting inside your own head. He goes, when your spirits are talking to you, or that voice, those angels, it's yes, no, go this way, don't go this way. They're very short. All these other things that are coming in your head, that's you. That's you coming up, or you're trying to reason with it.
Yeah, that's like that,
Right?
that angel and devil on each
Yeah,
shoulder.
right?
And they're going back and forth, and, you know, you get caught up in that, and you don't, then you cloud that spirit out.
Exactly. And you take your energy away. I mean, I've got goosebumps underneath my sleeves here, but I have worked on that. And I think that was back in 2014 or 15, maybe, when that happened, when he was telling me that. So I've been working on it for, 7 years or more. And I really, really listened to it. And there are times where, you know, it's like, take your sunglasses with you. Nah, I'm not going to need them today. It's a little cloudy. And then an hour later, the freaking sun's as bright as can be. And I'm like, I didn't listen. And it's something as simple as that.
Exactly.
And it's so crazy because now it's like I wake up and I go to the gym every morning. And some of my greatest ideas in my head, or great ideas, come to me at the gym. And it's that little voice. It's that little voice that says, hey, when you get home from the gym, this is what you need to do. And I'm like, I'm on it. And it's never failed me.
Exactly. Oh, I miss that guy.
I know,
He was
right?
such a good friend of mine.
Robert was he was a really good guy. I didn't even know he was ill.
You didn't tell anybody.
No, he
just
held
lost
it.
a bunch of weight and just said he was changing his diet and didn't clue to anybody that he was
Yeah, that
dying.
he was dying. Yeah, because the last time I saw him, I was helping a friend run a booth at the Home and Garden Expo, and I ran into him, and I don't know if it was a girl he was seeing or what, but that was the last time I saw him, and he had lost a ton of weight.
Yeah.
So yeah, then when I saw on Facebook that he had passed, I went, oh my gosh. But yeah, he was a really good guy. He was another one of those guys. He just wanted to help people.
Exactly.
He wasn't out there to get rich or to do whatever. He just wanted to help people. So again, Robert, if you're up there and you're listening, yeah, thank you. Thank you
We
so
love you,
much.
dude.
Yeah. Thank you for teaching me a huge lesson that I still use to this day, and I'm still honing in it to make it better.
It's a lifetime journey. As
It
part of
is.
the hero's journey, you're constantly
Yeah.
working on yourself, and there's a whole process that you go through over and over again. So you have your long life hero's journey from the time you're born till the time you die, and then you have a bunch of small hero's journeys in there where you get that call, you cross that threshold, and then it's the road of trials. You've got all of these lessons that you've got to learn when you make that change. It doesn't usually come easy.
All right.
And then you've got this road of trials, and then you take what you learned on that road and cross back into the next realm where you're teaching other people what you learned.
Yeah.
And then you get another call, and there you go again. And so it was really coined by I got to think of his name. It was just on my mind. Campbell, Dr. Joseph Campbell. He was a mythologist, and he's the one that coined the hero's journey and talked about the whole process of the hero's journey. And it's just such a perfect life, the way life is. It just really describes it. And so all the movies that you connect with, all of the stories that you hear, if they have a strong hero's journey in them that you connect with, you're going to love that movie. It's going to resonate with you. It's going to make sense. You're going to want to watch it over and over again, or a book, because the hero's journey, that's the whole plot, right? Is the call, the journey, and then the ending where something good happens.
Yeah.
Sometimes not something not so good, but most of the movies, the hero comes out ahead, falls in love, gets married, gets, the prize that they were searching for at the end.
Yeah, I need to get into the movies because I need to fall in love over and over with Jessica Biel. And my wife knows it too. Yeah.
Well, as long as she knows there's phantom competition.
Oh yeah, there's phantom. Of course, she has her. I have my competition with people with her. Anyways, we won't get into that part of it. But, no, but you're right, and even when you said, a lot of times there are things that don't quite happen at that's right, or that feels good, right? Down the road, it turns out to be that way, and Dr. Mike Smith, who is the co-host on our live show, we were talking about that this morning at the gym. And we were talking about, the law of attraction. And he goes, Alan, he says, a lot of people don't realize it can work both ways. And I'm like, no, I get it. Because the more negative stuff you put out there, the more negative crap that's going to keep happening to you.
You can't lead a positive life
Yeah.
being negative.
Right. Yeah. And it's so crazy that when you do start just allowing life to happen instead of trying to control it. And I think that's what happens with so many of us. I did it for pretty much the majority of my life, always trying to control what's happening in my life. And all I did was F things up. I mean, seriously, that's all I did was F things up. And again, it's however you guys want to look at it. For me, it's God. Some people, it's a different higher power or whatever. But as soon as I said, you know what, I'm done. I'm throwing my hands up. You got the reins. It's like Carrie Underwood that says, Jesus, take the wheel, basically. Uh-huh. It's like, okay, show me. And I tell you what, I cannot believe the change that has happened in my life. Now, is everything easy? Oh, hell no. There's still those challenges that come up. But that's a word I'm working on getting rid of in my vocabulary. However, there's still things that turn out okay even after the crap happens.
Exactly.
And I've told this story on the podcast quite a few times, and that guy at my wife's AA meeting that got up and said, I thank God every day for making me an alcoholic. And I'm like, yeah, that guy's got his head up his freaking rear, because why would you thank God for that? I get it, because I thank God now for my wife's battle with alcoholism, because it has changed me in so many different ways, and it's changed her. This podcast wouldn't be happening. Some of the speaking engagements I've done wouldn't be happening. It's helped me find my why and my direction on where I want to go. And Mel, I know you've had some tragic things happen in your life, and it's pretty much leading you to your why.
Yeah.
Right?
Right to it. And
yeah,
it's the perfect time to grasp it and run.
Yeah, right.
And that's what led me to my why. I mean, there were two whys, because we didn't even cover the part where I had the drug issues. When you have that, and I think addiction is a power issue too, when you talk about control. Mm-hmm. So you feel like life's out of control, and then you find something that kind of lets you forget about how out
puts
of control
the Band-Aid
your
on
life
it, right?
is, not realizing that you're just contributing to more out of control crap happening. But I just think that the more we can let go of needing to control everything, the faster we move through the lessons. Yeah.
Yep, I agree 100%. And to kind of go back a little bit, you said when you was at your job, you were looking for pretty much a way out, right? You were heeding something. You knew something was coming. Did you battle with your addiction during that time, or was it after? Would you?
No, but at that time I was addicted to someone else's addiction as well. So you talk about that a lot. No, my addictions were in high school, in my early 20s.
Okay.
Into 30. And so really when I stopped was when I got pregnant with my son, because I knew I couldn't be in that world and be the kind of mother that I always wanted to be. Yeah. And so it was kind of there were a lot of things that led up to that, getting busted, just little things that kept happening that were shifting me out of that. But then when I got pregnant, it was like we went to a party just a couple days before New Year's, and I had been heavy into cocaine for a while, and I kind of loosened up because I got busted, and there were a lot of things that came with that.
Yeah.
But I was at a party, and all these people that I worked with were doing coke in front of us, and they weren't even offering us any, and I was so upset, and I had a couple
I would have been pissed too.
It's like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, right?
That was rude. They're all doing front. Well, I was on some medication. My doctor said, if you miss your period by 1 day, you come in and get tested because you can't take this medication if you're pregnant. And I missed a couple weeks later, I went and got tested and I was pregnant. And at that point, it was like some higher power was looking out for me.
Definitely.
That didn't get offered to me at that time because I was pregnant and I didn't even know it. And so that was the end of that. Couldn't drink, had morning sickness too bad, so even a sip of beer was like, whoa.
Oh, geez.
And then it just, it came easy for me to let go of everything after that. When my first one was born, I'd come home, I'd drink a glass of wine while I was nursing him. But once the second one came along, I'd open a beer, pour a glass of wine. That I was so busy chasing kids and I'd forget it was there. And so, and then it got to the point where I didn't feel good. So I kind of let a lot of that go. And I still drink, but it's rare.
Yeah.
Kind of just a social thing. And then I always know I'm going to feel like crap the next day. So I have to make careful choices because, even a beer will shoot a migraine in me the next day. So I'm very careful and picky and choosy about when I choose to drink. So, and cigarette, I had smoking addiction, pot, all that stuff. So, but just gradually over the years, I was able to let some of that stuff go where some people have a harder transition.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember I kept getting the 2x4, getting hit in the head by the 2x4.
The cosmic 2x4, right?
The cosmic 2x4. And I went to the doctor one day and I said, you know what? Every time I do cocaine, my kidneys hurt. And he's like, that's like telling me that you're hitting your thumb with a hammer and can't figure out why your thumb hurts. And I still remember that. It's like, duh.
Yeah, right. But also when we're in that state of mind, though, we're not realizing it. Because I remember my wife when she was in the depths of her addiction. I mean, when she couldn't get booze or go shoplift it, and she was drinking the cooking wine that has like 600 and something freaking milligrams of sodium, she'd be over there going, I can't understand why I can't talk. And it's like, well, no shit.
Right.
But yet you continue to do it. And it's just because the brain's not functioning. It's not firing in the right way.
Exactly. And then you make other stupid decisions.
Right.
Like
yeah.
I was a dealer. And that's part of my badass branding because in the 70s, in the late 70s, early 80s, there weren't women dealing drugs. It was a man's world, but that's how I was feeding my addiction, was selling it so that
it's free for you.
Feed my own addiction.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the badass brand because that was pretty badass. That was my first entrepreneurial adventure. Right? Was outside, the selling Kool-Aid stand when I was younger. Yeah. And then, as I got older and my kids got older, they kept saying, come on, you're a badass. And so combining that together is like, as a perfect branding for me.
Your legacy.
I'm the rock chick. I like to rock and roll. I still have some of that wild personality that I had in my 20s. It's a little bit more tamed now, but, it just came out of my journey.
And that's what I was getting ready to say. You had to go through all that. Your life was right where it was supposed to be at that time. So the badass could come out right now, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of people regret their journey. But when you look back, it's made you who you are today.
Yep.
Yeah, there are some things that I wished I wouldn't have done. I wish I would have been more involved in school and not, sloughed all the dances and because I was drinking out in the parking lot or, whatever. But, it's so far in the past. But all I can do is say, you know what? Going through all of that has led me to where I am today. I can draw on, that entrepreneurial part of being a dealer, and that's part of my journey now, learning to sell, learning to give people what they want. That's going to help them with the next place they need to go. Unfortunately, that was a bad entrepreneurial deal. But, the lesson is still there. Looking back, that lesson is still there.
Absolutely.
And so when you overcome an addiction, whether it's your addiction or codependency and you're addicted to someone else's addiction, you can look back and you can see, how has that shaped who I am today? What am I giving to the world that I might not have given otherwise? Who am I helping move forward in their journey because I was brave enough to step forward through that, and now people can take inspiration from that, and I can help them move through their crappy times in life.
Yeah, and I had again, I don't even remember who I sat down with at High Point Coffee in West Jordan that basically told me that, when people started noticing there was something going on in my life, and I finally opened up, and the gentleman that I was sitting down with, he's like, man, you got to share this. I'm like, who the hell wants to hear my story? He goes, who the hell wouldn't? Because there are other people going through what you're going through. Yeah. We have a tendency as humans to think we're the only ones that are going through it. We're bullshitting ourselves because there are thousands and thousands of people out there that's going through the same crap, and they're thinking the same thing. Why is this only happening to me? Well, it's not only happening to you. That's just how we
And
how
if
we
you
think.
reach out, you're going to find, instead of staying in your little, martyrdom, pity
right?
me place. Oh no, when you start reaching out and you start talking to other people about it, then it starts not being such a heavy load that you're carrying.
Amen.
And you'll start to find out there's other people that are going through similar things. And just talking to them about what you're going through, you're also helping them. And then when they share, they're helping you. And so there's this
building
whole
that
synergistic
community,
thing.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you said that, Annette, because, when First Fridays was big, back when we were bringing in 130
That was
plus
so fun.
people, and we will get there again. I think
We
the last
will.
couple First Fridays we've had close to 30-something people, so we are definitely getting there. As I started opening up and started sharing my story, I would probably say there were about 4 people that would come up to me at these events and go, you got a minute that we can talk alone? Male and female. And I'd be, yeah, so we'd go off, and they're like, I don't know if you knew, but I used to be an addict. Like, huh? Are you serious? I've been networking with you for how many freaking years? I never had a clue. So that's when my eyes really started opening up, which was crazy because it was coming home from a First Friday event that I had made up my mind I was going to go home and get my pistol and go out in the mountains and take my life because I couldn't deal coming home to what I was coming home to every day. And now here I've got people coming up to me going, hey, I don't know if you knew. And we had a guy who used to go to First Fridays who moved to St. George. Well, I worked with him. He did a lot of stuff at the chamber when I was working for the chamber. But he reached out to me on social media and goes, I've never told my story, and I like what you're doing on your show. So he says, I think it's time I share. And he came on for the very first time and told his story. And to me, that's freaking huge. Just from a friend telling me I need to open up, it's just gained so much momentum. And it's like everywhere I go. I mean, I don't know how many people I've ran into at the gym. We just start talking, and they're like, what do you do? And I start telling them, they're like, oh, yeah, I'm in recovery. It's like everywhere.
Yeah.
Go to a restaurant.
Yep.
Your waitress or waiter. We went to a restaurant in St. George for our summit. Guy comes out. I thought he was the cook. Pulls me outside. We get talking. He's the owner of the freaking restaurant. Started telling me about his addiction. I'm just going, my freaking hell.
It's everywhere.
It's pretty rampant.
It is.
And what's interesting, too, is it's not just drugs.
No.
There's sugar addictions. They just opened by my house. They opened some soda place where you can go get dirty sodas and stuff like that. And the line is always super long. And I was reading an article. It was an op-ed in the Salt Lake Tribune where somebody was saying that the sugar addiction is killing people as fast as drug addictions are. It's leading to type 2 diabetes. It's leading to so many health issues. And so we tend to think of addictions as just being like illegal substances or alcohol, but
it's not.
You can be addicted to anger. You can be addicted to
work,
to your pity party,
your phone.
Just this week, I started a group on Meetup. It's another sort of addiction. We'll talk about that after the show. But either way, just the group that I had set up, just in the first 24 hours, I had almost 20 people join the group, and I didn't advertise really anything until the next day when I realized, like, oh my gosh, like, there's a lot of people out there that really need support in a community like this. So I had my first meeting on Tuesday, and I was going to do a bi-weekly meeting, but because it was such a great turnout, I was like, I'm going to do it weekly. It's just one of those things where I've been thinking about it for a while, didn't know the route I needed to take for it, but ultimately I started it, and yeah, the community is big.
It's that voice whispering in your ear, right?
Really, it's been whispering for a long time.
Yeah.
That's that call. And
It is the
sometimes
call.
when you get that call, you want everything to be perfect. You want to know exactly what you need to do. But sometimes you just got to take an action. When you get that call, just within 24 hours, just take a first action, whether that's to look something up online towards it, or just throw it out there. I mean, that's what I do in my podcast too. It's like I got the idea to do a podcast. It's like, well, I don't know how to do a podcast, so I just hopped on Podbean and figured it out, and did the first one by myself and told my story, which prior to 2017 I wouldn't have done. I was at a women's retreat, just a really small retreat. And we were talking about marketing and branding, and that's when I talked about my story, and they're like, you got to totally be the badass business chick. And so that kind of solidified. And then I started putting it out there. My coach at the time said, I don't know if I go with that branding, but it just fits so well that it's like, no, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Done.
I think it does fit well. I was talking with Tina last week at First Fridays, because she's the badass,
the website badass,
the website badass, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you and Annette, I freaking love you girls.
Yeah,
it's
we got
so
lunch
flipping
today.
cool, right? Oh, you guys are having lunch today?
Yeah, we're having a badass lunch today.
Yeah, she drives
so
a
great.
badass car.
She does.
1971 Cuda.
Oh, wow.
I used to
Purple.
drive a 65 Ford Fairlane, but it wasn't a muscle car, but it was cool.
Oh, my
I loved those old
gosh.
muscle cars.
Me too.
if she
One
asked
day.
me to go on a ride, I would feel like I was 6 years old again when my aunt used to come and pick me up in like her 67 Mustang. I'd be like, yeah, I am definitely bad. I'm just the passenger. Arm out the window, right? Yeah, because that is a kick-ass car. I love Tina's car.
Yeah, it's
cool.
and purple.
I know, right?
That's just badass.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, let's take this moment right now to take a quick commercial break. So, guys, stay with us, and we'll be right back.
Have you ever been in a car accident? Do you know what to do after being in a car accident? Are the insurance companies going to take care of you? Hi, I'm attorney Rick Heaton with the Law Office of Bobby Udall. I will help you through the process and answer all of these questions. I give every single client my cell phone so they can talk to me whenever they need. Let me deal with the insurance company so you can focus on getting better from your injuries. Call me at 385-330-0226. Again, my cell phone number, 385-330-0226. Don't call the insurance company first. Call attorney Rick Heaton at 385-330-0226.
Hello, my friends. This is Brad Neufeld, and I want to thank you for tuning in to the Resilience Talk Network. You can listen to my show, Resilience, every morning, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. On my show, we will be discussing what it takes for you to overcome the day-to-day challenges that all of us face in life, as well as some of the devastating ones that may lead us to feelings of hopelessness and despair. It's my goal to provide you with the tools and skills that you need to overcome anything that is thrown your way. To find out more about my show, visit our website at www.resiliencetalk.com. That's www.resiliencetalk.com. And as always, until we meet again, go for everything that you want in life and make it happen.
Good morning, this is Leticia with Computer Hospital. We are your computer repair experts for both PC and Mac. We are your community resource for all of your computer repair needs. What makes us different is that we want to fix your computer. We also do free diagnostics. We charge a flat rate labor, which means that you won't pay by the hour. All of our computer repair is done in-house with a fast turnaround time, and same-day service is also available. Feel free to stop by anytime without an appointment. We're located in Sandy at 8721 South State Street. Again, that's 8721 South State Street, or call us at 801-987-3993. Again, that's 801-987-3993. This is Leticia with Computer Hospital, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Hello there, this is Brad Neufeld with the Resilience Talk Network, and I would like to introduce to you Taffytown, one of our newest sponsors. Let me introduce you to Derek.
Hi, I'm Derek from Taffytown. We're proud sponsors of the Other Side of Addiction podcast. Taffytown is a family-owned and operated business still operating in the Salt Lake City area for over 100 years. We manufacture some of America's best saltwater taffy.
What makes Taffytown stand out from all of the others?
We have a unique recipe, a whipped-style recipe that incorporates egg whites, evaporated milk, real sea salt. It's a unique product that is flavorful, melts in your mouth, and the best part is we probably have a flavor for anyone's liking, a flavor for any reason, for any season. We have unique flavors like chicken and waffles, maple bacon, frosted cupcake. New this year was a pineapple ghost pepper flavor.
That's awesome. Where can people find out more about Taffytown and all of its products?
You can check all of this stuff out. All of our products are available for sale on taffytown.com. We ship for free from our website, so all of our pricing on there is shipping included. Oftentimes we offer special promotions and discounts to our loyal customers, so do be sure to sign up for an account. And we look forward to seeing what we can do to make you smile with our taffy.
Where are you located?
We are currently located at 9813 South Prosperity Road in West Jordan, Utah, just at the foothills of the Copper Canyon mine.
Derek, taffy has always been a great gift to give. What are some of the creative ways Taffytown can help say thank you to others?
Yeah, if you're looking for gift ideas, whether to say thank you to friends or family, or maybe to your clients after such a difficult or successful year that you've had, you could look no further than to get a gift idea from taffytown.com. We offer pre-packaged gift boxes that say that it's saltwater taffy from the city of the Great Salt Lake, and it tells a little bit about the history of our community and making candy for so long. You can also do customized gifts to pick out just the right flavors or colors of candy for that special someone and deliver even a personalized message in that box to them. So please feel free to check out taffytown.com for any gift ideas this season.
Thank you so much, Derek. Please visit taffytown.com, that's taffytown.com, to find out more about the products and services that Taffytown offers. You won't be disappointed.
Do you know someone who's gambling with death due to an addiction? Do you know someone whose life is being turned upside down due to a loved one that's battling with addiction? Hi, I'm Al Richards. I am the host of the Other Side of Addiction podcast. I started the podcast due to my wife's battle with alcohol. Let's just say I became addicted to her addiction. Our podcast is helping people understand a little more about those who have battled addiction and those who are hurting from their addiction. Through raw vulnerability, we share stories that help uncover the root causes of addiction. Shame felt on both sides, matter of the conscious and subconscious mind, continued beliefs, and often confusing paths of recovery. We collaborate with real people and their stories, as well as licensed professionals, to help our audience gain a better understanding of addiction. You can find us on Resilience Talk Network. You can also find us on Facebook at Mr. Al Richards. That's Facebook at Mr. Al Richards. You can also find us on YouTube. Just look up the Other Side of Addiction podcast.
We just want some real
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Other Side of Addiction. Again, we are here with our special guest, Annette Pieper, and our lovely co-host, Mel. And ladies, gosh, this has been awesome. I really, really enjoyed where the first part of our conversation was going. And right before we got on, Mel was actually talking about something that Annette mentioned during the show, and it was the call. Let's see, the call leads to a journey, then the journey leads to another call. And I agree with Mel. I think that is so kick-ass because
So powerful.
it is powerful, and it really does happen.
It puts comfort in my stomach because I've got the call and now I'm starting my journey, and it's like I was saying, I don't know where it's going to lead me, and that's okay. I don't need to know, but I'll get there.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and they call that, once you cross that threshold and make that decision and move forward, then they call that the road of trials. And so you think of, and I always use climbing a mountain as a metaphor because I'm writing a book on that.
On the mountain, yeah.
When you're climbing a mountain, or you're going hiking, or you're going backpacking, whatever that is, you can hit the trail and you can run into things. Like there might be a log blocking the trail, or you might run into a bear or a moose,
Snowdrift.
or a snowdrift, or some storm
happen.
comes in.
Yeah.
And so, that happens when you hit the road of trials. Once you make the decision, it's not all smooth going. And you've got to continue making the decision to keep moving forward through all of the trials. You might have to bushwhack a little bit, because the trail's covered with overbrush.
Yeah.
And so when you think about it, you're constantly heeding that call on that road of trials, and that's where you really need to look for mentors and people that are going to help you through that. Whether that's a therapist, whether that's an addiction program, whether that's hiring a coach, or being part of a group. You were saying something about starting a new group too, and so finding those people that can be your support system while you go through there, because we don't make it to the other side by ourselves. We've got to have that support system. You hear about people saying, oh, he's a self-made millionaire. Nobody gets to a millionaire status by themselves. They've got support. They've got people that work for them that help build them up. So there's nothing self-made. We make a decision, and then we have people that support us, that we learn from, and we get guidance from, and inspiration, and people that we can share. God, things just suck. I don't think I could continue to do this. And they can call you out on your crap.
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
You say you want to change this, and then you keep doing this over and over and over again. And so you got to have that support system as you're going through that road of trials. And it's interesting because a lot of those people come with you on their own journey as you're going through yours, because we're doing it together.
If you're going this is my belief, if you're going the direction that you're meant to go, God is going to put the right people in front of you to help you take that next step.
Exactly.
And we were saying at the break that I've read some stuff of Richard Branson, and one of his things that he says is a lot of people, they want to change and they want to do something different, but they're always waiting for the perfect moment. There never is going to be a perfect moment. If I was waiting for a perfect moment to start this podcast, I'd still be waiting to start this podcast almost 2 years later. And I just started putting it out there. And next thing I knew, a guy that I knew Brad. And we just happened to connect, and now here we are, 100 and something episodes into it, coming up on 2 years, and we're still going. And there are a lot of people that they always, I got a good friend, and I won't say his name, but I have a really good friend. We've known each other since we were like in 4th grade. And every time we talk on the phone, he always asks me, without fail, you still go to the gym? Monday through Friday. If I miss a weekday, a lot of times I'm there on a Saturday, He's like, yeah. I've been wanting to do it. I've been wanting to go out and do this. And he's always saying why he can't. And I finally told him 6-7 months ago that I'm like, you've been saying this to me for the past 3-4 years. And you always have a reason. So apparently it's not important to you, which is okay. That's you. I'm not saying that you're doing anything wrong, because he's not. But don't keep saying you need to do this if you're not going to do it. And
because you're allowing yourself that mental space of failure.
Yeah. And we've talked about that here on the show. My good friend Dave DeRocher, who's the executive director out there at the Other Side Academy, he was on the show, and again, we're not knocking any kind of recovery centers, because they're all needed, every single one of them. But he says one thing that really bugs the hell out of him is when people say, you're going to relapse. It's just going to happen, because that's all part of recovery. And he's like, we are giving him the frickin' easy way out.
Right. Isn't that creating a self-fulfilling prophecy?
It's like bullshit. If you want to do this, you're going to do this. No, you're not going to relapse.
Keep that
so
in
why
your
are we
mind.
telling people
Yeah.
it's okay? You're going to relapse. And you may relapse up to 7 times before you finally get it. And it's like, we're giving them a free card. And I never really thought of it that way until Dave was talking about it on the show. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I don't know how many times I heard that while I was going to meetings and supporting my wife when she was in recovery and things like that. It's like I heard that over and over and over. And my wife used it. Mm-hmm. She used it on me every single time. She goes,
well, how
you
is
knew
that,
I was going to relapse.
How is that different from the trail, having snowdrifts and trees down? And how's that different from the trail? I mean, we say, no journey is easy, and there's never the right path that's going to lead you exactly there. You have to fumble and fall. And
as long as you're making the decision right to go that way. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because when Annette was talking about that at the break, I went on this hike early spring up at Lake Desolation, Big Cottonwood Canyon. And I mean, I didn't get on the trail very far when I realized, crap, I got to put my spikes on. And then I got a little bit further up the trail, and I'd take a step, and I'd fall down to my crotch. My leg would sink, and I'm like pulling myself out. And I wore shorts and, good jacket, so I was warm. And I got so far, probably halfway, and the trail was completely gone because the snow. And I'm like, gosh, the snow's getting deep. And I'm like, I don't know if I should go. And it's like, I'll just keep going. I'll find something different where the snow's maybe a little harder so I'm not sinking. And I kept telling myself that. And before I realized it, I'm at the lake. And I looked down, and both my legs were bleeding.
oh gosh.
Because when I would sink, the ice would scrape my legs. It's just scratches, no cuts. And I'm like, holy shit. I mean, if someone walked up to me, they'd be like, are you okay? But I'm like, I flipping made it. And I kept doing what you were talking about, changing my trail, looking for different paths to see if I could find something. And it was still a bitch. It still was. But I frickin' made it. And I was so proud of myself because my mind just kept saying, no, let's just try this way. And before I flippin' knew it, here I am at the lake. Now, I was very grateful when the hike was over because, man, it beat when you're pulling your legs out of snow drifts and stuff all the time, man, it's tiring. But again, that's how we all need to look at life, right?
There's a lot of power when you reach that, when you go through all of those challenges and you reach that end destination or that end goal. It's like my second backpacking trip I did was in the Sawtooths in Idaho, and we partied all the way there, and I was smoking then, and I probably smoked 3 packs of cigarettes.
On a hike?
No, the night before.
Oh, okay.
And then the next day, we're hiking 8 miles up a mountain pass, and we get to a certain place, and I think we're just about where we were going, and I take a deep sigh, and it's like, oh no, we got farther to go. And so, and then my friend would light up a smoke, and it like, how can you right? And so when we finally got to the lake, I was so wiped out, but I was doing the Rocky dance.
Yeah, I bet.
Because it was so empowering to overcome. First of all, I weighed about 100 pounds at the time, and I'm carrying 50 something on my back, 8 miles up a mountain pass. But after, partying and smoking so much the night before and getting, I made it up the whole 8 miles without lighting up a cigarette because I couldn't breathe.
It's like, I can't breathe as it is. Why light a smoke up, huh?
But, then you get there and it's empowering. And then we hiked to another lake and then another lake because we were gone for like 9 days. And each lake, it got easier to get to the next lake. And it was just one of the most personally empowering trips that I've been on, just because of what I had to overcome just getting up the darn mountain pass.
Yeah. And I'm sure you probably had those thoughts like, I'm done. I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
I'm heading back down,
I'll meet
guys.
you guys in
right?
the car in a week.
Yeah. Yeah, but something still kept you pushing and going through. And again, I am a firm believer that when your head is telling you if your head is filling full of fear and it's saying, no, you gotta determine the two. I don't want to make a mistake here because I listen to a lot what my head's telling me. A lot of times if you have that fear, that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Because my belief, again, this is just my belief, that's the opposition not wanting you to go down the journey you're supposed to go down.
Yep.
So if you're scared as hell, that's your sign. You better keep going because that's exactly where you're supposed to be going.
That was me on Tuesday, right before my first meeting. It was 45 minutes before. My girlfriend and I, we were supposed to do it together. It was our plan to do it together. And then 45 minutes before, she's like, I'm not going to be able to do it. And so I had 45 minutes to sit here and be like, all right, this is all me. But after doing it, I was by the end of the meeting, I was just like, every week, we're not even doing bi-weekly. And she drove me here today and I was just like, you know what? Like, no offense, but I don't even need you. I didn't need you at all. I thought I did. And it helped me get there. So thank you, but I didn't need you.
That's awesome. Well, and it's really interesting because you talk about that fear and you get that call and you get that fear. And as long as you let that fear take control, then you get resistance. So that resistance ends up being more painful than the damn situation that you're trying to move out of. I can't even tell you how many times that resistance and fear of what's on the other side of that has almost paralyzed me. Like I couldn't think of anything else. I couldn't process anything else because I was just in this fear resistance mode. And it's really interesting once you make that decision and you say, I'm leaving the relationship, I'm giving up the cigarettes, I'm giving up the drugs, I whatever that situation is that you've got to move into. It's like once you make that decision and you take that step, it's like this huge feeling of relief. It's like you get a deep breath for the first time in months. And it's like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Yeah. The part that was bad was all the resistance and fear that you let.
Exactly right.
Just take over your everything in your life because you were too afraid to take a step. And it happens through that whole journey. Every moment is a new decision. Yeah. Every second is a new decision that you get to make. And so one of my favorite quotes is, in your life's defining moments, there are two choices. You can step forward with power and faith, or you can step backward into fear. And that's by one of my mentors, James Arthur Ray. And when you're in that fear, you're literally stepping back.
Absolutely.
And then it's harder to step forward.
Life is hard either way, whether you stay in fear or progress forward.
A lot of the guests that have been on the show, and I'm sure you've heard it, Mel, that when they were in that decision of, I'm tired of being in this life of addiction. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of going to jail. I'm tired of living on the streets. I'm tired of waking up and feeling like shit the next day, or people taking advantage of me or waiting for my next fix. Do I take the leap and move forward? And a lot of them have said it was that fear of what's my life going to be like without this, because this is all I've known for a long time. And they said once they got past that fear and they decided this is what I'm going to do, it was still a struggle. It wasn't easy. Some it took a little while, some it took a year, some it took a year and a half, but they kept going. And then now they look back and they're going, I don't know what the hell I was so afraid of.
Exactly.
So it's that unknown. And I think a lot of people, I've done it myself, where I've held myself back from going forward because of that unknown, and I remember lots of times my wife, she said many, many times, I don't know what my life will be like if I can't have alcohol, because I have been drinking so long. A lot of it was socially,
say,
right?
Like, what am I going to do?
What am I going to do
at night?
right?
What am I going to do with my friends? What am I going to do when I'm camping?
Yeah.
And there's a life beyond that.
There is a life beyond that.
And I'm learning it. I'm
Yeah.
almost 3 months sober today, and I have a lot of fun. And I had those same thoughts. I feel like it's a normal thing to think that, but yeah.
Well, I know people who will not go to a restaurant that doesn't serve alcohol, because that's the only way they can go out and enjoy and have a nice dinner, is as long as they're having alcohol with their meal. And I used to be that same person.
I've been there.
We'd go out to dinner, Janana and I always had beer with my meal. And I quit drinking beer, probably 5 or 6 years ago. I just got tired of waking up with a freaking hangover, even if it was only a 6-pack. Waking up with my head just sounding like a freight train was going through it, and
So I get that with
Yeah.
one
you
beer.
know, and
Same.
it's
The
crazy.
last time I drank, I had 2, and I was throwing up by the time I got home, and it didn't stop for 24 hours, and I just
Wow.
knew like my body's done.
And I think when you're in that addiction, or you're in that pattern, you don't really recognize how crappy you really feel the next day, because you're so used to
It's the
feeling
normal.
like crap. You do the thing, you wake up, you either do it again because you feel like crap to so that you don't have to think about how crappy you feel,
Yep.
or you go through the whole day going, what in the hell did I do that for?
Yep, someone
What was
close
the
to me.
point? I don't even remember half of what happened.
Yep, someone close to me. He actually, he had really bad panic attacks throughout this year, and what he would do first thing in the morning is he would drink to mask the panic attack. But that's what is creating the panic attacks, and I just want to be like, stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy where all that stuff leads us, and you even mentioned at the beginning of the show of, I was addicted, and you said you've heard me say it on other shows, which I have, that I was addicted to my wife's addiction. And and for us who don't understand the addiction part of things, it's so crazy, because I would watch my wife, and I'd get on the hamster wheel with her, but I would watch my wife drink to where she couldn't stand up. Next morning, she's waking up and she's got scrapes on her face and bruises on her forehead. Her body's covered in bruises. It's like I just beat the hell out of her. And it's because of she falling down and falling on her face. And then she'd wake up, and as she'd start sobering up, she's like, why did I do this? And what did I say to you last night? And then that guilt starts taking over, and then back to the booze. And then the
Drown it
whole
out.
cycle would start all over. And I remember many, many times it's like, why? Why do you just keep getting back on that same hamster wheel? You keep saying you want your life to get better, but yet you're beating yourself
doing
up for
anything
what
about it.
happened. And so you turn around and you go back doing the same thing just to feel more guilt, to turn around and do the same thing, to feel more guilt, to turn around and keep... I'm like, I just don't freaking understand it.
And that's how it was when I quit smoking. Is like I would quit smoking, and then I cheat. And this was especially when I was with my former husband, because he quit smoking, and he's like, we need to quit smoking. And so we both quit, and then I'd cheat, and then I finally get tired of hiding it, and I'd smoke in front of him, and then he'd start smoking again. And we did that dance for a few years. And then he finally said, I'm quitting for good. He quit. I went and got my hair done one day, bummed a cigarette it was like I'd been quit for like 3 or 4 days, bummed a cigarette from the hairdresser, and I was smoking it, and it was like, what are you doing? Either smoke or quit. One or the other. Don't put yourself through this guilt hell anymore. Of, I gotta hide, I gotta cheat, and I'm tired of this, I'm gonna smoke in front of you kind of thing. Just make a decision one way or the other. And that's why I quit smoking.
I'm a firm believer. I'm pretty strong mentally when it comes to this. Like I was a cigarette smoker as well. I started when I was 12. I quit when I was 20, 19 or 20. But I knew I wasn't going to do it for my life, but I also knew, like, if I quit right now, I'm not ready. I know I have to be ready. So my girlfriend right now, she's a vapor. She keeps promising my son, I'm going to quit. I've quit, and next time I see her, she's got a vape. But ultimately, I'm like, you need to stop telling yourself and telling other people that you're going to do this if you're not ready. It's like you're only going to be able to do it when you're ready. So stop telling everybody your timeline when it's not your timeline. So it's like when you're ready, you'll be ready and you'll know.
And that's a good point, Mel, because it is. All those times that my wife went through all those rehabs and everything like that, she wasn't ready. And I remember times, her sponsor would even tell me, she's like, she's not ready. She's not ready. Mm-hmm. And it's sad because those that don't make it through their addiction and they end up losing their life, that's a hard one. And so many of the people that we've had on our show have said, yeah, just one day, man, it just slapped me upside the head so frickin' strong. And I just knew now's the time. My life has got to change. And to see the extraordinary things that these people are doing now, I mean, it's like amazing. They're even amazed at themselves. They're like, I had no clue I'd be where I'm at. No clue.
Saving lives is the new drug.
Yeah, that's what
that was
cool.
Clay's.
Yeah, saving lives is the new drug. That's what his is. Yeah, and which I think is just so kick-ass. And it is so true. And Clay's a phenomenal guy, man. I just love the hell out of Clay.
Yeah, it was awesome meeting him.
Yeah, he's a good rapper too. And I don't like rap music.
I still haven't heard it. You're supposed to send it to me.
Okay, well, when we're done with the show, I'll pull it up so you can listen to it, because him and Rufio is the guy that sang this, and they have one called Superpower, which my friend Laban kind of took that song. Rufio gave it to him. But this other one that they sang had so much meaning to it. And again, I've never really been into rap music. When we were at Recovery Day and they were up there, and I'm like, I'm going to go watch Clay and Rufio sing, and I was like, holy shit, I love this song, because it had so much meaning, and all their songs are about recovery and being in the depths of addiction, and that's all that they write about, and it's just so cool.
And people need that. They don't need the gangster rap. They need the stuff that's going to power them up.
That's what I was just thinking too, because when you write it, you invite it, but also when you hear it, you invite it too. So all of these songs that you're listening to, you're inviting that in, even though you don't think you are. It's the same thing. Even though it's not you saying it, you're still listening to it and singing it and all of that, and you're still inviting it. So that's exactly where my mind went.
Well, and in my book, Step Into Your Vision, in my goal setting process, I talk about power songs and having a power song to help you with your goal. And those power songs are the ones that fire you up, that keep you connected. So one of my big ones right now is the theme song from The Greatest Showman. It just has so much power, and that's a whole hero's journey movie. Yes. Anyway, of building your dreams and all the fallbacks and all the rough roads that you have in that, and you get caught up in your own crap, and you got to let it go. Yeah, your own
ego. Caught up in your ego.
You do, and it's so part of the journey, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many other songs like Alicia Keys' "Girl on Fire," and just those songs that when you listen to them, they bring you out of a bad mood. They bring you out of, I call, defunkifying. So it helps you defunkify and get back on track with what you're doing. And so I like that when you hear it, you're still creating that.
Yep, you're
So
still inviting it.
Yeah.
Yep.
inviting it.
That's
So
true.
being able to sing it, being able to dance to it, being able to hear it, that's all building power within yourself to move forward. So anyone that's struggling with addiction, find your power song that you can listen to when you're about ready to take that nosedive again into a place where you know you don't belong anymore, and just, making that decision in that moment to go 1 more minute, go 5 more minutes, go 10 more minutes, go the next hour, because sometimes that's what it takes, is that small of an increment to get
Absolutely.
you through.
That's me.
Yeah.
When I quit smoking, I had gotten really sick one day from drinking, and ultimately it was 3 days later before my hangover was done. And I was like, well, it's been 3 days. It's like, was that my sign? And I mean, I've smoked a few cigarettes here and there, really hammered, but I definitely never started again. I've seen both my sisters go, well, all of my sisters, best friend of mine. It's like they'll quit and then they start, and then they'll quit and they start, and I'll only drink, or I'll only smoke when I drink. But for me, it was like 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 months. Oh my gosh, it's been a year. So it's the progression for me, where I can count numbers, I can make tallies. That's it for me. Like right now, instead of saying like 12 weeks or 3 months, I'm saying it's a quarter of a year, because that's more powerful than just 3 months.
Instead of half empty, it's half full.
Right.
Totally.
So it's been over 35 years for me, and
wow.
so I've never been a smoker. When they fill out those forms at the doctor's office, have you ever been a smoker? No, because that was 35 years ago, and I'm not a non-smoker.
Yeah.
So it really, if something happened, and they really had to dig deep into my medical history, then I could, say, well, yeah, I smoked for about 14 years when I was younger, 10, 14 years. Let's see, 14 to 28. So yeah, about 14 years. But right now I'm a non-smoker. And I think that's something too, that I have a hard time grasping with, and maybe it's just me, but when people come through the other side of, alcoholism, is like, I'm still an alcoholic, and it's like, why do you want to keep programming?
I agree with that one.
It's like, what, you're a non-drinker now, you're alcohol free, but being an alcoholic, it seems like that gives you that fallback again, like a relapse.
Well, and you're labeling yourself,
Exactly.
and I remember when Jeananne, of course, she was going to AA meetings and that, and she'd get up, in which they do in all AA meetings, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I'm an alcoholic, or I'm an addict. And I remember telling her on the way home once, I'm like, this is up to you, but I don't like you saying, hi, I'm Jeananne and I'm an alcoholic, because you haven't drank in like 3 months. So you're not an alcoholic right now. So why are you telling yourself you're an alcoholic? And now she gets up and says, hi, I'm Jeananne, I'm in recovery, which I like that.
So much better.
And I don't know if you guys know who Todd Sylvester is. Todd Sylvester works at Wasatch Recovery. He wrote a book, I Am Recovered, went through his own battle with addiction. His story, that book is just an awesome book, I Am Recovered. And Jeananne worked with Todd, and I had my friend Julie Clough, who does a podcast here on Resilience Talk Network. She knows Todd, and she introduced us, and I didn't even realize it, but I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I know you, because my wife worked with you. But he went out and did a talk at the prison, and he says just something, he's never used this before, and just something came over him, and he asked, by the raise of hands, how many people are in there for doing a hard crime? It's like all the hands went up, and he just kept asking these questions, and you'd see some hands up, sometimes it was a lot, sometimes it was a few. And he goes, after I did that exercise, he says, I want to tell you what, none of you are those things that you raised your hand for. And he goes, because none of you have stole, or maybe you have here in prison, but none of you have broke the law while you've been here in prison. So why are you calling yourself a criminal? Yeah, a crime you did put you here, but right now you're not that person.
Yeah. Why do you label yourself a felon?
Yeah.
When you committed something, it was a felony, but why do you have to own that?
Yeah, why do you have to own it? Because society is already going to make sure that they let you know
Exactly.
this is who you are, which, again, there's a lot of people now starting to work towards getting that changed. It's like, I think her name was Amber. I believe it was Amber who was on here, and she was trafficked, and she was one of the ones that helped get rid of the name prostitute. They're being trafficked because a lot of these women are being trafficked. They're not having a choice, and it's very hard to get out of that because they are watched 24/7. When they think they're alone, they're not alone. Somebody's got an eye on them, and it's because they're making somebody very wealthy. So they've got it. They're changing it. And I really liked what Todd said with that because it is so flippin' true. Don't label yourself as something that you've done, because I tell you what, my closet's full of skeletons. And I'm pretty sure everyone I know has a closet full of skeletons. Yet we're not putting ourselves back in that closet with those skeletons. We're going, I'm going to build a new closet, and I'll make some mistakes.
They've got some cool clothes in it.
That's got some cool clothes in it. Yeah. Something like Madonna used to wear or something like that.
Exactly. Nice walk-in.
A nice walk-in, yeah. Mine would be full of cowboy boots.
But I really like that word recovery because if you think about it, we're all in recovery all the time because life's traumas never end. There's always something that's going to happen in your life that you're going to have to recover from. So as an example, my sister-in-law passed away a couple of weeks ago. And that death, that grief, you got to recover from that. It's not gone as soon as the funeral's over.
Oh, yeah.
It's a recovery process. So there's always something that we're recovering from. We get a diagnosis at the doctor. We got to move through that and recover in our mind, to the treatment plan. We're recovering our health again. So it seems like we're always in some kind of recovery. And I just think it's hard on us, and it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy when we label ourselves as, unless it's something fun like the badass business chick or something.
Yeah, right?
That's a good label, right?
That is a cool label, yeah.
But, when you're calling yourself a dumbass or I'm such a dumbass, I'm an idiot, why are we labeling ourselves?
Yeah.
I've worked really hard to make sure the words that I say to myself are positive. I'm making sure to, even in a joking scenario, my kids and we joke a lot. And even us together, I'm like, we should stop saying that. It's not bringing any positivity, even though we do it in a light manner. We're only joking, but it's still we're still saying it. So we're working really hard in our house to be more positive and always, you can't turn every negative into a positive, but I'm doing my damn best.
That's awesome. Yeah, I used to always, excuse myself. I'm just a dumb blonde, right?
Yeah, right.
And when I worked at the semiconductor place for 21 and a half years, I would have people chase me down to tell me the latest blonde joke, right? and it was fun. They're funny. I laugh at them. But then I was like excusing myself as being a dumb blonde I realized I'm just programming myself. There's
allowing it.
Yeah, the unconscious mind has no filter. So what you allow through the conscious mind, which is your filter, goes right into your unconscious mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you're programming, and then you start owning it. And so by being able to use that filter and say, well, wait a minute, I'm not a dumb blonde. I'm a smart chick.
Yeah.
And I'm going to quit claiming that because it really has nothing to do with the hair color. We all do dumb things and can be a dumb blonde, so to speak, at times. But why do you have to own that?
Yeah, and you don't. And I'm glad that you ladies brought that up because I think it was when Janessa was the co-host here, she mentioned something that stuck with her, something that I put on Facebook. And I put on Facebook a long time ago that the words that follow I am follow you. Mm-hmm. And it's so flippin' true because I am are two extremely powerful words. And I've even done it myself to where you're doing something, you're like, oh, frick, I've got my head up my ass. I'm so stupid. That is really throwing some negative shit. I'm labeling myself as being stupid, even though, like you were saying, Mel, it's not meaning it in a harmful way, but yet it is still harmful.
The more that you hear it, just even my sister and I, we've always joked a lot like that, and one of her things was, oh, you're so stupid, you know? And it got to the point where over the past couple of years, I was like, can you not say that to me anymore? I mean, I know you don't mean it, and I know I'm not stupid, and I know you know that I'm not stupid, but once you hear something so much, you're going to start believing it.
Oh,
exactly. And so you got to catch yourself in those moments when you say, I am an idiot, and just go, oh, cancel.
I'm not an idiot.
And then
I'm a very smart person.
Differently, you know.
Let me rephrase.
I took an action that wasn't the smartest I could do, but that's not who I am.
exactly right.
I don't need to own that. It was an action. So I love the words cancel.
Yeah,
because-
cancel, zero. That's how I was taught. Say cancel, zero 3 times, and it cancels it out. That's just what I was taught.
I just tell myself, nope. I know I'm smart. I know I can get through whatever I'm getting through. So we're just in a funk. Let's get out of it.
You guys are so right, because my wife's son taught me a valuable lesson, and he was still pretty young, and I had my 2 daughters. Everyone that I was always with always had daughters, and now all of a sudden I'm with this lady that has a daughter and a son. I was doing to him what my dad did to me, which was really the wrong way of going about it. And I used to call him lazy all the time. I'm like, you're the most freaking laziest damn kid I've ever known, you know? And one day I come home, he didn't do what I asked him to do, and he was downstairs, and I go downstairs, and he's watching TV, and I'm like, why didn't you do this? And he looked at me and goes, because I'm lazy. And I went, holy shit. I marked him, and now he's taken it. Mm-hmm. He's like, he thinks I'm lazy, so I'm lazy.
Yep.
Why bother?
Why bother?
Yep.
Why bother? And it hit me pretty hard when that happened. Now, did I still kind of put 2 and 2 together? No, because I still wasn't in the right mindset either. But I like talking about that now, because it's like, man, because my dad just told me I did everything half-ass. You can never do anything 100%. Everything you do is half-ass. So I looked at myself, okay, well, I did shit half-ass. You know?
Why bother?
So, yeah, why bother? I mean, I'll go halfway there, and okay. You know, it's like I'll put half the engine in and leave the other half out, and good enough for me. Here's your car. You know, so we definitely gotta quit labeling ourselves and
labeling other people.
And labeling other people. Amen to that.
Especially kids, because kids, they don't have the conscious mind to really filter things out. And as parents and adults, we have so much power when it comes to kids. They're still learning their way. So we really have to be careful when it comes to kids. And that doesn't mean to coddle them or... You know, it means to just speak to them in a way that they can get the message without disempowering them.
One thing that I actually learned in the past couple of years, I don't remember where it came from, you should compliment kids on who they are, not their outward beauty. You know how, we'll always tell the kids, like, oh, you're so beautiful. Like, no, you should say you're so smart. Like, you're so good at soccer. Like, you're an amazing athletic person, things like that. We shouldn't ever give them just a compliment based off of your hair looks so good today. It's like, I love the way that you did your hair today. That was really awesome, like the way that you styled it.
Changing language, right? Just a little bit.
Exactly. But it's complimenting them, who they are and the steps that they've taken versus, oh, your hair just looks fantastic.
Yeah.
You're beautiful.
That's a really good point.
I think that's one of the things where, I don't know, my past has made it to where I don't like people telling me that I'm pretty. I don't like being complimented on my looks. Like, if my outfit looks great for the day, like, tell me I did a great job putting my outfit together, doing my hair. I don't know, I have such a negative stigma towards people telling me I'm beautiful. Like, it just makes me like, but tell me I'm smart instead.
However, again, though, own it, even though it makes you feel uncomfortable.
I'm working through it. I can't right now, but I'm working through it.
It's just another step, because I have a hard time with compliments. I mean, I've really, all my life, because I never was really complimented all my life. And so I've kind of gathered that in, and now I'm really working hard on making sure that I can give some compliments. you know, and it's still hard for me. Sometimes my head goes, no, I'm not going to say it.
And you know
You
what?
know?
When you disregard the compliment that someone gives you, it affects them.
You're breaking the cycle.
When you say, "Oh, yeah, that's so not me," you know, I'm just
Yeah.
having a good hair day today. Usually it looks like crap, you know. Then it loses the power of that compliment.
Yeah.
You're
because
right.
it's empowering for them.
You're right.
To recognize you and give you a compliment.
Yeah.
And you know, it is really that give and take that creates that power between you.
Yep. Amen. And we all need those compliments. I mean, really, we as humans, we thrive off of that. You know, we really do thrive off the compliments, and it's nice to have them. You
I
know,
love
and,
giving them.
Oh
to
yeah,
strangers.
it's
I'm always
cool.
the one that smiles in the car at the strangers, and I get the smile back.
Yeah.
And like
I-
somebody did it to me, and I smiled back, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like I don't think anybody's ever smiled at me in the car, but yeah, I received the smile and was like that was great.
I
like
smile at
do
the
that
ones
to
that
other
flip me
people.
off. I had a guy pulling from me. This is quite a while ago, but he comes flying right in front of me. I don't know why he just didn't get behind me and turn, but he gets right in front of me, slams on his brakes, and turns down the road. And I honk my horn, you know, going, "Damn, that was close!" And he puts his finger out and flips me off. And I just
You
start
have a good
laughing.
day, too.
I'm just going, "Okay, dude, it's my fault. Okay, fine." You know,
I guess
it's crazy.
I guess you know you were justified in your flip off, but I don't have to take it.
Yeah, I don't have to take it, and
I'm
I
just
don't
gonna laugh
have
and you're not
to.
gonna piss me off.
Yeah, crazy. Well, ladies, my gosh, this was awesome. Yeah, I really loved our conversation today. And Annette, again, thank you for taking time out of your day and come and share a little bit about your past and stuff that you've been through and all this positive. I mean, really, this whole show is just all positive
I loved
talk
it.
and some
I
really
needed
good stuff.
this.
Yeah.
Well, and thank you
Yeah.
for having me because I love to talk.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was growing up, my brothers used to call me motor mouth all the time, and so now I've taken that and put it to good use. I'm a speaker and a trainer, right?
Just like the badass, right?
So
You're just going to own it.
I love to talk.
Yeah, I'm the same way, especially when it's stuff like this. You know,
Right.
I
I like to listen though too. I've
yeah.
gotten better at that over the years.
There's some people we've had on the show that I know we probably could have done a 3-hour podcast easy. You know, and it's just because it's flowing so well, just like today is. It's just really flown, and it's nice to change it up a little bit to where it's not all about the depths of addiction. You know, and one of my friends, Tanya, that I know from the gym, she even brought that up to me. You know, she says, sometimes it's really hard for me to listen because she's been on the other side of the addiction. And I get it. And it's nice to change it up. And that's what's cool about us starting our live show on Wednesdays. It's going to be more information, you know, that's shared. And we were talking about verbiage, right, on labeling and things like that. And we've got Usara that's going to come in and talk about language. Which I think is going to be very, very powerful.
Well, and I think when you have podcasts like this, it gives a lot of resources
Oh, yeah.
to people. You know, when it's great to have a lot of information, but then you got to have some resources to self-empower
Absolutely.
yourself.
Amen to that. And there are a ton of new resources out there, you know. And I was reading a book, and I think when was the Depression? Was it 1934, or somewhere around that range, or
Somewhere in there.
35? But I was reading this book, and they said there were more self-made millionaires at that time than ever in the history of the United States.
I've never heard that.
And the same thing that's happened with COVID coming in. It put a lot of us at home, and it did get a lot of us thinking of things. A lot of us lost jobs. You know, a lot of us, didn't want to go down a certain road. And they've come up with some new things. And some of the stuff that's been happening out there has been some really good positive stuff. So again, as we spoke about earlier in the show, a lot of times heartaches can turn into some of the biggest blessings ever. And like my friend Nicholas T. Smith from A Tribe of Giants talks about, he goes, if you really start looking at your life and you start connecting the dots backwards, you'll see exactly where you're supposed to, you'll see that you're exactly where you're supposed to be right now at this moment. Don't be connecting them forward because you don't know how they're going to go yet.
Yep.
Let it flow and then go back, and then you'll see, that's why this happened, because it had to put me on that different path to go around the sagebrush or
Yes.
wherever, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I love conversations like this. So again, Annette, thank you. Mel, thank you so much. It's been an honor to sit here with you two ladies today and have this conversation. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Guys, thank you to all our many sponsors out there. We just love you guys. Thank you to all our listeners, all our supporters. To Brad, Mason, I'm going to mention Mason's name because Brad is getting busy, so Mason is taking the reins on things. Letting you know, Mason, thank you so much. Really grateful for you stepping in Brad's spot to be here with us. And you've made my life easy because last year when Brad was gone during the winter, I was usually doing something wrong with the cameras or forgetting to hit something or reset. So Mason, thank you so much for your time. And yeah, guys, as we do our best to do these shows, and I've said it many times, when you hear one of our shows, share it with one friend. Ask them to please like and subscribe to help us build our listening audience. We've got a lot of cool things that's coming up. Again, we're doing our live shows every Wednesday. You're going to be hearing our live shows at 5:30 Mountain Standard Time. We've got a lot of cool guests that's going to come in and talking about some stuff like what we talked about today. Annette mentioned it, resources. We've got a lot of resources that are going to come in to help people. Our guest that we had on for our first one on the 9th, November 9th, man, she shared a lot of good stuff about nutrition, which was really cool. So, guys, keep following us. We love you. We appreciate you. And again, thank you to just everyone. I could just sit here and say thank you for another half hour. Remember, addiction is giving up everything for one thing, and recovery is giving up one thing for everything. We're out.